Our next guest in the Fortress is Kristian, who has made this outstanding remark about Britney's memoir. He told me, I imbibed this book like oxygen. Hey, Kristian, welcome to the Fortress.
Hey, how you going, Tim?
Nice to hear your voice, Kristian. Now, look, you've read this from cover to cover in what I would describe as record time. Like, what made you not want to put this down? Like, and how long did it take you to read? It's not a small book.
Well, no, I tried to bully the ladies at the bookshop the day before it was released because they had it out back to give it to me, and they were terrified of the publisher, so they wouldn't let me have it. So I,
I've got to say, mate, you're a yoga teacher. That's not a good look for a yoga teacher, bullying librarians or whatever they are.
um, Britney fans got to do it. She must. So, so I went home and I was just like, okay, well then I'll ask the powers that be. And I've got some friends over in LA, in lucky places. And I said, hey, you wouldn't happen to have a copy of the book, would you? And they did, and they sent me the ebook. So the night before, I knocked over a quarter of it. And then I'm like, okay, I'll put it down and I'll watch some television and just chill a bit. And then when I woke up on its release day, I had my coffee and I just picked it up and started reading, and it became a game of just a few more pages, and just a few more pages, and just a few more pages. And before I knew it, it was 5 p.m. and there was no pages left. I was like,
Wow.
wow, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Sorry, that story started with your morning coffee and then it was 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, Kristian, I'm telling you, if there's no better advertisement for a book. I'm dying for you to tell us all about it, but let's start at the beginning. Do you feel like you know Brittany a lot better now that you finished the book?
Um, it, I feel what I always thought about her is very much true. Do you know what I mean? She's so sweet and she's so innocent, and all the things that happened to her because of that sweetness and innocence, you can see how it would happen. Um, she's very kind, so she's too good for this world, really. And yeah, you could see it's very much her. What you read when you read the book, you realize that that sweet girl that you always watched growing up is was genuinely her. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't have a bad thing to say about anyone. She doesn't wish bad things on people. She's a really kind person, and she can tell the book really reiterates that.
Wow. So when someone writes a memoir, there is a huge opportunity for them to take swipes all over the place. But I haven't read this book, but it sounds like she hasn't done that. It sounds like she just very matter of factly tells the stories.
Well, yeah, because so many narratives have been written about her, and the world just ran with them. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, she was a pop star and a female, so naturally, especially in the 2000s, everyone wanted her to suffer because that's sort of how they treat women. So she had her success, and now it's time to tear her down. Whereas males don't get that same treatment. So she pretty much had to wear all the awful things that they wrote about her. And yeah, she literally, with this book, got to really put the things straight and clarify a lot, where she never had the opportunity in the past to do it. So I can imagine it would have been very good for her mentally to get all that off her chest. And she's not mean to anyone, but she's honest. Um, so it's yeah. Poor Justin Timberlake at the moment. I hear he's not doing that well with it all. But then he deserves it. I'll put that on record.
I'm going to ask you about what she has to say about Justin, I've got to say. But to go back to your point about she's too innocent or beautiful for this world, she has always struck me as that, actually, that when somebody hurts or says something mean, she does have that very few people have, but that furrow of the brow, like, why would you behave that way? Why would you
Yeah,
be spiteful? Because it's just not in her at all. Do you
yeah.
think that is the truth now that you've read the book?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. She's had so many opportunities where she could have been really awful in the past, but she always took the higher road. And to be honest, that was probably easy for her because she is kind. If she was Christina or one of the other ones, they never take the high road. They always take the slaggy road.
The Slaggy Road.
The Slaggy Road, yeah.
So, so what I take from that though is this is not a mud slinging book. You're not
No.
if you're buying this book to see her talk about I don't know Justin Timberlake having a very small penis or Madonna having genitals, you're not going to see that. She doesn't sling mud, right?
No, no, she doesn't. She's very complimentary, even with her parents. Like, even when she's dishing on them, and then they treated her the worst. She's still understanding. She still comes from a place of understanding where they came from and who they were and how they grew up, and then understanding the awful realization that she was the cash cow and the breadwinner of the family, um, and that she really wasn't allowed to stop working because if she did, everything would turn to shit for everyone. So, yeah, she's a very responsible girl.
She had a lot of obligation on her
Yeah,
shoulders at a young age. Does it feel like her voice when you read this? Does it feel like Britney's talking to you?
yeah, yeah, very much. Just you can really hear just this the way that she talks normally and the sweetness and the things that she notices and the things that she comments on, and it's very much her. You know, everyone was like joking, oh, she had someone write the book for her. But it really does read as she would speak. So it's, yeah, very relatable if you're a Britney fan.
My guess, Christian, is that she probably sat with either a tape recorder or an author, one of the two, and just told her story in words. And then an author has probably melded it into a book as close to her voice as possible.
Yeah,
Unless you disagree with that. Do you think she literally put pen to paper?
I think she would have written some things down. She definitely would have had help because writing a book is a huge thing. So there definitely probably was someone there with her. Also to help her, I mean, definitely in the editing part where they'd need to shape the story to
Mm.
flow. Because it flows in a timeline. It starts back when she was a little baby girl, and then ends now. So it is a linear story.
So, Christian, we know that you're a massive Britney fan, and it's a bit like if Kylie or Madonna wrote a book themselves. I feel like there'd be a lot in there that I had quite a knowledge of anyway, but it'd be interesting to see that perspective. Was there anything for you as a big Britney fan that surprised you that you just didn't know at all? What shocked you about this book?
Just how out there and cool she is. She on on page one, she's talking about lying on the pebbles and getting touched by God, and I was like, cool. By page 73, after she's broken up with Justin and she's like, you know, driving down the freeway with some unnamed person. There's many unnamed persons. She's like saved people's privacy a lot. She's driving down the freeway
Mm.
with someone that she found was a great support to her when she felt so alone. And they're driving down the freeway, and then aliens. She's like, I think aliens came. So she's 73. She's talking about aliens, and it's like, okay, that's cool. That's out there. She's very open minded to everything, and to spirituality, and to uh, it's almost like she's a deity in a way, but the most unexpected kind because she's a pop princess.
But she's always been really attuned to energy, right? Including the,
Yeah.
the energy of people, the energy of the universe. I've felt that about her. Let's cut to the chase. Did it read as if it was written by somebody who does struggle with their mental health? Or was it very coherent? Or like,
Oh, yes,
what
it
can you
wasn't
tell
like
us
her
about that part of
Instagram
it?
post. Yeah, it wasn't like her Instagram post. I know what you mean. Her
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah,
post can be like a ramble, an
yeah.
explosion of a rant of some kind. No, this was a very
Yeah, her
calm
Instagram
book.
post can start in one point. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Her Instagram posts can start at point A and then you can't work out how you got to point J. Like, yeah,
yeah,
so this is
yeah,
very much
and a lot of
coherent and flowing,
emojis.
right?
Yeah, a lot of emojis in between. Um, yeah, this is very, very coherent, and she talks very candidly about her mental health, and very honestly too about how she struggled and why she struggled. So it's very understandable, and you sort of begin to feel that, you know, maybe she didn't really have mental health problems outside of external issues. Do you know what I mean? That sort of forced onto her. So her mental health was a reaction to the world as opposed to just something she was suffering. It's almost like if people were kinder to her, she wouldn't have had any problems.
I get it. So by reading this book, the context makes you very unsurprised that she behaves the way she behaves or thinks the way she thinks because it all makes sense once you see the life story.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. And then when she starts explaining, especially in the 2007 era, when things started going bad, she started explaining her behavior to you. She's like, actually, no, I was just doing this, and because of this and this, and why aren't I allowed to do this? Like everyone was like, okay, you're a mother now. You have to give up your life and go home and uh, be a mother. Except everyone was saying she was a bad mother, and then they took her babies away from her. And that's the only thing she ever loved was her children. So then she started acting out and going out, which anyone would do, especially at when she was 25. A 25-year-old millionaire would very much act out in that situation. And um, she didn't even do anything bad. That's the thing. It was just the narrative that they kept
Well,
writing.
Kristian, that's the part I'm really interested in. Okay, I won't go on one of my famous rants because people will not forgive me for that. But when the Free Britney movement was happening,
Yeah,
I really contested the fans that were picketing and marching down the streets because I said there is stuff in those files you don't know, and
yeah.
you're only in a conservativeship if you're a danger to yourself or if you're a danger to others, and really qualified people are looking after that decision making. And we didn't have the files. You don't just have children taken from you, Kristian, without good cause. So my question to you after reading the book is, does she take any responsibility for her behavior, or does she just say it was the response to her behavior was unreasonable? Does she take any accountability at all here?
Um, Not really, not really. It sort of paints and it sort of writes out that because the husband, K-Fed, was treating her like shit for like months. I actually, when I read the whole era in the book, I was like, how did you put up with that? How did you let him treat you like that? He was ignoring her, just going and hanging out in Vegas and becoming his own pop star, and just basically ditched her at home with the children. And then she got sick of it, and he treated her really, really badly for months and months and months. And then I guess being the pop princess, she sent him an SMS that was pretty much, well, I'm getting a divorce, piss off. And he already knew. So he's always been a thug to me. He planned that. They made her look crazy just to steal the babies because he wanted the paycheck. And if she got to keep the babies, he wouldn't get the paycheck. The prenup was pretty tight. So he needed those children. He still does. Look what he does to her still with those babies. They're nothing but a cash cow to him. And I believe that completely. I don't believe she was a danger to her children at all.
Did she talk about the famous incident where she was barricaded in a house, possibly in the bathroom, with her children,
Yes.
who I assume would have been terrified at the prospect of police banging on the door? Did she talk about that incident? And again, did she take any accountability in that?
She did take accountability. She spoke about it. She said that they tricked her. So basically, because they kept saying things at that point, I mean, he had custody, so she was only allowed to see them on his approval. And what happened was she didn't think she was going to see them again. It got that bad that because they kept holding it over her head, that they put one of the kids in the car, and then she just lost it and locked herself in the bathroom, um, because they tricked her. They said that, well, we'll give you more time and you can spend some more time with them before we take them away. But it was all a trick. And then she said before she knew it, a SWAT team was bursting through the door, and then they tied her to a gurney and put her on a mental hold. Um, but you can understand why someone would act like
My
that.
God.
Like, it's the only thing she ever
It's
loved.
tragic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's even hearing you recount it, it's heartbreaking because any parent who has been separated from a child knows that feeling, or even the possibility of being separated from a child. So it's a tragic story you're recounting. And I was curious, and I will read the book myself, how much she talked about her children because they're still estranged from her. They still make comments. about Britney's lack of protection. Does she talk about the kids much, or does she pretty much steer clear?
She talks about them so much and her love for them. She dedicates the book to them.
Mm.
At the start of the book, it's
Oh,
dedicated to them. Um, yeah, she loves them with all her heart. And I think the sad tragedy is that now that one of them just turned 18, and then the other one that's going to turn 18 next year, the cash cow ends. So it's going to be very interesting to see the dynamic now that Daddy isn't getting paid 40 grand a month, 40
oh,
grand
I can tell
US a
you're a
month.
Britney fan, Christian.
Oh,
Because
it's,
I don't know, I don't know the full story. It just feels like, come on, he's a dad, and I'm sure that he's deficient in many ways. But
oh
golly,
yeah.
it's a big call to say he doesn't love and care for his boys.
Oh no, no, he's saying that he's an opportunist, and those children
Hmm.
are a very good investment, a very good investment. I mean, the cynical part of me knows maybe that Sam Asghari wanted to knock her up as well. Sorry for being crass. Knock her up as well because as soon as you got a baby with her, you're set for life, really.
Let me ask you this, Christian: are there other celebrities out there? And I'm pretty sure Justin will come up, but are there celebrities out there who will be running scared from this memoir?
um, no, there was a famous woman that cheated on Justin with Brittany. Cheated on Brittany with Justin. She brings her up, but she leaves her name out, and she says because she's married now with children, and I don't want to embarrass her. So
Wow, who is it?
yeah, I don't know. I just
Oh,
there's
come on, Christian, you'd
well
know.
no well
Take a
apparently
guess.
there was a few times like one of them was an All Saint, one of the All Saint girls from the All Saints. Remember
Uh
the All
huh.
Saints? Back in the
Yep.
day, and
Yep.
then this other girl. Oh, I don't know who this other girl is. I'll have to delve into the forums and ask the other freaky fans because I never really paid attention to him. Um, yeah, ever since he went out and said, that he banged her on the radio, I was like, that's disgusting to do that to your ex partner, to shame them like that and embarrass them. It's yeah, I think it's scum. Excuse my French.
Yeah. Oh well, I know that Britney fans feel strongly about Justin, and certainly not just him, but society as a whole. It was interesting the way he
Yeah,
has come off unscathed, even with the Janet Jackson incident
yeah,
at the Super Bowl, things like that. It is a reflection of the way society was in the early 2000s. She talks about Colin Farrell in the book, doesn't she? About
yeah.
sleeping with him.
Yeah. So the thing is Justin wasn't her first. She lost her virginity at 14 to one of her brother's friends,
Right.
and then and I could tell back in the day as well. No little girl goes and talks about her virginity in a press conference. So when she did, I knew because I'm a Madonna fan too, so I've got like that Madonna business mind. I knew that her agents were like, no, you have to go and pretend to be a virgin because it sells records. Um, so I knew she was lying when she said it, and I knew she didn't want to say it. But she was very much a yes girl, yes sir, yes ma'am. She was a very good girl, and it came back to bite her big time. Yeah, so Colin Farrell, like she was rebounding basically, and they're both Sagittarians, so I can imagine what that would be like. It was apparently animalistic. She said it was more like a brawl, I believe, were her words. They brawled naked for a couple of weeks, and then she got
Yeah, that's
over
quite
it.
the image, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. And when you see them together, he's like sort of got his arm around her neck. It's like in a headlock. It's like holy shit. Yeah, the two peas in a pod, really. That uh, different peas.
It does sound to me like she doesn't take much accountability. I'll give you some examples that are coming to mind.
Okay.
With the Diane Sawyer interview, I was pressured, I was made, I was forced. With the conservatorship, I shouldn't have, it wasn't fair, it should never have happened. With the children being taken away, I didn't do anything wrong, I don't understand. With Las Vegas shows, same thing. It's like, at what point does Brittany in this book, if ever, say, I should have done that differently. I could have behaved better there.
She does. She acknowledges where she could have done better. but not in a
She blames a lot of people, though, is my point.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, once the conservatorship started, she had no choice. Like the way it works and the way it runs out is you're going to eat this, you're doing this, you're going to breathe this many times, you're completely controlled in every single way. And they did because her parents were very much invested in her continuing working and being the star and bringing in all the millions. So once her dad took in control of her, she had no choice. And she realized it. I mean, I read from, there was the guy, a photographer that she was dating at the time that the conservatorship started. And he always told the story of, I was out with Brittany, we were driving around. I got a phone call from her father because the conservatorship had been kicked into place. And he said, right now, you have kidnapped Britney Spears. She is supposed to be here. The police will come for you if you do not deliver her to me right now. And he literally had to look at Britney and say, I have to take you home. Otherwise, I'm going to jail. They're going to arrest me for kidnapping you. And they meant it. And then they kept her under lock and key. And they stole all her money. I mean, they are motherfuckers. But leading up to the conservatorship, with the Diane Sawyer thing, what confused me, which I think maybe she's confused about this, her father, she said that her father organized it. Um, he wasn't around at that period, as far as I know. So that
Right.
part did confuse me. I was like, okay, well, and he's even come out and said too, he's like, I had nothing to do with that. I mean, he was a drunk, so he was probably drunk somewhere at the time. But I'm confused with that part. I'm like, maybe she's
Mm.
remembering that wrong because she wasn't under conservatorship with Diane Sawyer. Um, I don't know who suggested she do that. It was a bad idea.
She describes Diane Sawyer as coming at her with question after question after question, and she felt very uncomfortable. And I'm honestly not having a go at her, but if you felt that uncomfortable, where's the moment where you stand up and hold out your hand and say, thank you for your time? This interview's
Oh,
over.
yeah, it's the Britney part, you see, because she's the yes man,
Mm-hmm.
yes sir, very
Mm.
agreeable,
Very
submissive in a
compliant.
way.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, because that's how she was
Right.
always taught
Right.
to be. Um,
Right.
and it would have been made into something even bigger too if Britney walked out on her. Diane Sawyer would have, yeah, taken her to town. She did anyway. She was doomed. You know, doomed if she did, doomed if she didn't. They made her cry.
Kristian, it was interesting timing. She was putting the finishing touches on this book when she split from Sam, her current husband. I think they're still married. I've heard that she still writes very positively about him.
Yeah, yeah, and he still writes positive about her as well in Instagram posts and stuff. Um, it's a funny thing. It didn't work out. They both haven't taken the low road, which is sort of nice. Legally, he gets nothing, but she's putting him up in a $10,000 a month celebrity apartment in West Hollywood. So lucky him. Um, but yeah, the it doesn't really go into. I think the last chapter it gets brought up, or maybe in a couple of chapters when they met and how she was, totally into him when they met because he's beautiful. And then they don't really talk about him that much until the very end, where now I'm happily married to Hamas and everything is wonderful, Hassan. And
Mm.
yeah, they didn't go into it at all. And I don't think she ever will.
After reading this book and being a super fan, were there any glaring omissions? Was there anything that wasn't in there that you thought, hey,
Yes,
go on?
yes. So the music videos. So once she went into the conservatorship, those assholes kept fucking with the music videos. And what happened was there was the Make Me music. No, it starts with the Perfume music video. So she wrote that lovely song with Sia, and she made it, and she had this whole concept for this video. And the director even confirms this. We shot this, and stills have been leaked from it, where she played this hit woman who had to kill this man in this film clip, but she fell in love with him. And then she couldn't kill him, of course, and he ended up being with someone else. And then the people that hired her to kill him end up tracking her down and killing her. So it was this very dark film clip, and she filmed it and she loved it. And the conservators were like, nope, 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 nope. So they censored it and they cut it to bits, and the film clip doesn't make sense. And she's always complained about that, and we've always longed to see the full version of the things that she wanted to create. And then it happened again with the Glory album. With Make Me, she made this amazing, incredible art video with David LaChapelle, which was quite it was raunchy. He said that the only stipulation she had with the making of the film clip was, I want to be filmed locked in a cage. He said that. He's like, that's the only thing that she insisted that we do. She wanted to be locked in a cage. And the rest of it was just all this wonderful made up sexy stuff. And they teased this film clip. We saw shorts and bits of this film clip, and we were like thirsting for it. We're like, oh my God, Britney's going to do the most epic film clip. And then when they finally released it, we were like, what the F? Where are all those bits? What's going on here? What's happening? And it turns out that the conservators again saw the film clip and were like, nope, doesn't make sense. We hate it, and they scrapped it. And then they got another man to redo the photo shoot for the album titles and the pictures, and to reshoot the video. And it was so boring. It was, oh my gosh, it was like Soggy Wheat Bix, the one that they released. Since then, the original has leaked, and it is a work of art. It is incredible. That the one that they made was, and let go and let out, was really, really crap. So that I really would like to have heard more about uh, what they did to her creatively. I mean, she does speak about how they muffled her creatively, but I was very into those bits because I love music videos.
Does she confirm that she was trying to talk to her fans? I remember this period of 2 years or so where the fans were saying there's a clue in that photo,
Yeah.
there's a badge, or there's something weaved in her hair. I also remember when she walked down the stairs, maybe it was Vegas, and she just looked very pissed off and didn't want to be there and walked straight off the stage.
Oh yes, yes,
Does
she
she?
talked about that.
Does she confirm that she was trying to communicate with fans in the Free Britney movement?
She talks about the yellow top and how it was the only way that she could have any sort of freedom was to sort of trick people. She doesn't go into the Rose. Remember how she kept going on about Project Rose, Project Rose?
Hmm.
That was Rosengart. So that was the lawyer that eventually freed her and got her out of it. So she was mocking the conservatorship quietly by posting about Project Rose. Um, and with that with the domination tour that they were going to do at the MGM in Vegas, where she pops up out of the fire and then just walks off. She did that to piss off the conservatives because they basically promised her a holiday because she did 248 shows, and she's like, I want a holiday.
It
And
really, Christian, I remember without needing the book, I remember knowing exactly what was going on there. And it really reminded me of, a caged lion who turns on his keeper. That it
mm,
reminded me of that because I could just tell by every bit of body language that she telegraphed to us. She said, "Fine, I'll do it. If you're forcing me to do it, I'll do it. But I'm going to do this." And bang, down the stairs, clop, 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 out stage
yep,
right.
into the car. See you. Bye, bitches. She talks about it. She says basically she came out and they were forcing her to do it, and this led to the institutionalizing her as well. She pops out of the ground. She said she walked down the path. She was supposed to do an announcement and say, yes, I'm doing my new show and blah, 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 which in my opinion was far too early. She'd literally just finished the other one. It's sort of like, give us all some breathing space. Let us all save back up before we spend all our money on her again. And she said that she couldn't stand it. So the only power that she had was to literally walk out, to tell the conservators, F you, uh, no. No, 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 no. Because she was pissed off at them because they promised her a holiday and they're like, no, get back to work. And yeah, that would piss you off eventually. She wanted to hang out with her children.
Now, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you about Justin Timberlake. Now, you've already mentioned he comes across as a complete dweeb, to say the least. Uh,
That's very kind description of him.
what can you tell us? Does she go deep into the Justin years?
Just how much she loved him. She just says, I was so stupidly in love with him. She said, I thought I was going to be with him forever, and I just adored him. And then she speaks about how his family was more stable. He's got a mum called Lynn too. They both have a mum called Lynn, which would have been a head fuck for her because her mum Lynn was a show mum, a stage mum, and the other Lynn was quite lovely. But she said she loved his family. She loved him like a puppy dog, and she couldn't understand when it all went south. And she
Who
said
had
that
the affair? Who cheated on who?
well, apparently both of them. She said she only cheated on him once with Wade Robson, Michael Jackson's accuser and dancer.
Mm.
And then she said that he had many affairs. She never said anything about it because she just was a good, quiet girl and just bit her tongue because she couldn't prove it either, she said. But then she heard lots and lots of things. And then when they broke up, she said that basically, as soon as he started making his first album, he basically cut all ties with her. She said she didn't understand, probably because it'd be really hard to make a breakup hate album about her if she was in there looking at him like a puppy dog all the time. So she says that's pretty much how it happened. And then they broke up. He sent her a text, and oh, he's such a wanker. He like wrote out this bullshit letter, and then he framed it for her to give to her. It was like a breakup letter. What the fuck? Like, writes someone a
Hang on.
breakup letter and frames it and
He
gives it to them.
framed
Yeah,
he framed the breakup letter.
he framed the breakup letter that he wrote to her and gave it to her like it was a gift. I was like, you fucking
Wonderful.
tossbag. Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
she
Is this going
doesn't
to
hate on
damage his
him.
career?
We see, I don't see it. Well, it's his career's in the shitter anyway. Really, uh, I don't know. I don't know. He might come out with another cheesy song. That's all he seems to make.
It's not to the extent of a Me Too movement type of thing. There's no
Oh
moment in there where
no,
you go,
no,
"Wow,
no.
okay,
Like
got it."
she had an abortion. Like he's like, I don't want to be a father. So he had an at home abortion, which sounded really awful. Where she was in agony on the floor apparently in the bathroom, and he decided it would be nice to play the guitar for her. Because that's
Oh,
what
you're
every
kidding.
girl, yeah, that's what every girl going through an abortion wants on the bathroom floor is their
Oh, stop it.
boyfriend playing a guitar, stringing it for her, and she's like, she was in agony.
Oh, my
She's,
head is in my hands. Oh my God, Father.
you know, it makes sense when you just think of Justin Timberlake. It's like you tosspot.
There's so much more I'd love to ask you, Christian, but people need to read the book themselves, like I'm
Yes.
going to do. But tell me this: as a book, how would you rate it? Like, as forget it's Britney's story. Is it well written? Is it well crafted? I'm imagining it must be because
It's sort of
you woke up, had a morning coffee, and didn't put it down till 5 p.m.
Yeah, it sort of reads because if you followed her career, each section you know where she is and what she's talking about and what she was doing, and she'll bring up moments and events and stuff that she did, and you're like, oh, we're at this part of her career now, and it sort of goes along. So you have all these visuals of what you were doing when you saw what was happening back then. So it does read really well, and she doesn't go on and on and on. Sharon Stone's biography, Sharon liked to talk lots and lots and lots, and a chapter would go on for years. It would, and I was captivated with Sharon's as well. I love her to pieces. But Britney's chapters are a lot more quick. They're a lot more easier to read, and yeah, they're a lot more pop star.
Possibly a hard question for you, but do you worry about her?
No, I don't. I don't. Well, I sort of do actually, but not from self-harm. Um, I was watching this really mental documentary on YouTube the other day, and it was about pop stars and musicians and why they don't live long. and there's a death
Hmm.
clause apparently. So if you die and you're a big pop star, your catalog quadruples in value. So what would have been worth 500 million is now worth maybe $5 or $6 billion. So there's a lot of there's a lot of motivation for you to die from everyone around you, because everyone around you except you will get much richer if you die. So when you hear stories about her having knives stashed around the house, considering what she's been through, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a terror of someone trying to kill her for her money. And all these knife dances, she's trolling. She's trolling everyone because she's not allowed to be around knives. So all of a sudden, she starts dancing with knives. She's trolling us, um, and because it's ridiculous. And when they said, oh, she can't cook, she's a mess, she broke up with her husband, she's a mess, the next thing you knew, she's chopping things up. She doesn't cook very well. What she cooked, I wasn't impressed with. But she did it to say, no, I can use a knife and I'm cooking and eating and you're all fucking idiots. That they keep calling the police on her to check on her because everyone's afraid that she's crazy. I don't think she is. I think she's over it. I don't know if we'll get another album out of her, and I understand if she doesn't, and that's all cool. I'll still clap for her, but she's trolling us right now.
Well, as someone who made a contract where she secures 25% of the net profits of this book,
Holy
maybe
crap,
you're
that's a
right.
lot.
Maybe it's unprecedented. I mean, but it does underpin your point that maybe she is having the last laugh with all of us.
Yeah.
But look, Kristian, I can't tell you how fascinating it has been to listen to you. Clearly a super fan, clearly a deep knowledge and a deep, deep love of her, which is fantastic. If people want to find you, can they? And feel free to say, no, people can't find me because some of our guests do that. Do you want
No,
people to find you?
yeah, why not? On Instagram or on Facebook. On Instagram, my ad is at Crit Hughes, KritHughes. And yeah, it's just Kristian Hughes on Facebook. I'm not on
Good
TikTok.
on
I
you,
hate
Kristian.
TikTok.
Is Brittany on TikTok?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, her publishers probably are. Her publishers are probably like spitting out that book like you wouldn't believe. But yeah, I don't think she is.
She might be under Knife Juggler 73.
Yeah, possibly.
Who knows, Kristian? It's been a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you. I'm sure you're about to go and read the book for the second time, so enjoy
I'm
it.
going to listen to audiobook now with Michelle Williams and her Southern drawl.
What the devil is that, by the way? Before you go, like, why didn't
It's-
Brittany read this herself?
I think
I was so shocked when I heard this strange voice reading the book.
well, it's a really fun because remember that I don't know if you watched it, and just like that, the Sex and the City, what is it, follow on.
Awful
Uh,
show.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite cringy. But in one of the episodes, Carrie writes the book about her husband and how that he died and everything like that. And in that, she was having a lot of trouble in that episode. She had to read her book for the audio book, and she was having a lot of trouble doing it because she was getting all messed up, having to talk about the sad parts. And there are a lot of sad parts in this book. So Brittany said it
I
just hurt
see.
too much, so she didn't. But
Oh,
she
so there
does
is a good reason.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But she does the introduction, and it's really funny because she sounds like she smoked 2 packets of Virginias, like Marlboro Reds. She does, and then when Michelle Williams kicks in chapter one, it's sort of like they sound really similar. They really do. Except Michelle reads it in a drawl, like a southern drawl. It's very like this. I
Takes
like.
a while to get used to it. I never thought I'd hear that Britney Spears' voice was becoming Lucille Ball, but there you go. It's
Yeah.
happening. It's happening. Kristian, you have a great day. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.